So which is it, SPY in the S&P 500 or those technology stocks in the QQQ? The SPY represents the S&P 500, 500 of the biggest companies, and the number one holding is Apple, compared to the more volatile QQQ, whose number one holding is Apple. The next two largest holdings in the QQQ are Microsoft and Amazon, as compared to the SPY, which is Microsoft and Amazon. While comparing the SPY and the QQQ, one of them has to have Tesla in the top 5, and of course, the QQQ, number 4, it's Tesla, but so is the SPY. When looking at SPY and the QQQ, you will notice that the top names are very similar. However, the QQQ has a higher percentage of those holdings. For example, Apple, QQQ, 13% of the QQQ is Apple. When it comes to SPY, it's 7%. When it comes to Microsoft, the QQQ, it's about 10% compared to the SPY, which is about 5%. And that's why they perform differently. We'll do some math in a moment to compare how they might do over the next 20 years, but let's take a look at how they've done in the past. The SPY, since inception, has averaged about 9.75% annually. In the QQQ, only 8.5%. Now don't get me wrong, during some of the best years, the QQQ can certainly outperform the SPY. However, the SPY is much more stable over the long term. Based on past performance, if you were to put $500 a month away into the QQQ over 20 years, with an annual return of about 8.5% on average, you would end up with a little bit over $300,000. However, based on past performance, if you were to put the same amount of money into the SPY over 20 years with the 9.75 average annual return, you would end up with $348,000. I like both the SPY and the QQQ for investing and trading. They're highly liquid and they have a good return. There are other factors to consider too, such as the dividend of the SPY and the QQQ. They both offer a dividend. However, there is a big difference between the two. And those dividends are not even factored in to those $300,000 returns. The QQQ has right now about a dividend yield of 0.61% compared to the SPY of 1.52%. Not only that, the QQQ expense ratio is 0.20% compared to the SPY, which has an expense ratio of 0.09%. Both of those are pretty high compared to other ETFs, but believe me, QQQ is double for less of a dividend and not as strong performance. This doesn't mean there's no value in the QQQ. I think it's an excellent trading ETF because it's so liquid. And when you see that the technology sector is starting to gain steam, well, then consider the QQQ for maybe 6 months or a year or a few years. But for the long term, I would definitely stick with the SPY. So which is for you, SPY, QQQ? Let me know in the comments below.